Hello and welcome back to the Jazz Ranch. It's springtime here and the cowhands are out on the range trying to get the cows to mate. And we enjoy that. This time of year is great, and they're going to have to give up their bebop tunes and maybe sing some bossa nova lyrics or something that'll be helpful. Anyway, you know, it was Igor Stravinsky who said, "My music is best understood by children and animals." So maybe we need to play the rite of spring for the cows out there. But anyway, I'm going to continue now with a great song, a great composition by the great Thelonious Monk called Round About Midnight. This was a request. So here we go now with, I will talk about the details of what I'm playing later on, but here we go now with Round Midnight by Thelonious Monk. going to talk about what I played, but I'm not going to talk about so much about the techniques, which I've covered in many other videos, but I'm going to talk about the 4 sections of this song that I want to focus on. First, the introduction. Secondly, the head or the melody. Thirdly, the interlude, setting up the improvisation and the improvisation. And then the 4th aspect would be the ending. And these are specific to the Miles Davis version of Around Midnight, so you might want to check that out on a recording, and you'll get more out of this. But also there will be a score available on my website for free, so you can follow along. So now here we go with the first part, the introduction. First thing I want to say is that I learned these chords for the basic head of this song from Jimmy Heath, the great tenor player, and I had the opportunity to play with him when I was, well, in my late teens, early 20s, and he came to Hartford, and I was in a house band at that time. Very fortunate to have arrived in Hartford from the coast of Connecticut, and we lived near New York, so these fellows could come to Hartford or to New Haven to play with house bands, and I was fortunate at a young age to be in one of the house bands, so I got to meet and play with Jimmy Heath. And he sat down during one of the breaks and showed me the changes, the chord changes to Around Midnight. But it begins with, like, we're in the key of E flat minor, which is relative to G flat, right? G flat major, E flat minor is the key. So now he started out with this progression that starts on the, you would call it the flat 5 of the key, E flat minor, and it would go like this. And this is in the Miles Davis recording as well. So it's a 2-5 from the A half diminished into a D7 altered. Then it repeats on a G minor 7 flat 5 to a C7 altered. Mostly a sharp 9, really. And then this would be the 2 chord going into the key. Same thing. So it goes through a cycle of fifths, taking us down to, and then Miles played this thing that is an interesting passage into the tune, like goes like this. And then the 5 chord. Okay, so I may not, the rhythm is not exactly the same, but it's the same idea. And now we move into the body of the melody of the song, and I'll show you those chord changes that Jimmy Heath taught me, and I was impressed to find that they're on this particular version that you can download from the Real Book, one of the varieties of the Real Books. Okay, this comes from the Real Book disc, which is a disc that has all the Real Books. There's about 10 of them, and this one is called the Colorado Book. And I was amazed to see that these chord changes are the same ones that Jimmy Heath taught me. So I'm thinking these are really the right ones. So now if you have the Real Book, and you're reading Around Midnight from that book, you have the wrong changes. And if you're reading some other variation of the Real Book or any kind of other transcription, you're not going to have the right changes. So this is where you're going to really hear the right changes. So for the first time, you're going to really hear them. So now it goes like this. So it's a descending bass line. This is so interesting the way it works. Because he has this, goes to there, which is a C half diminished. Then it goes to a, which is a 2-5 going into G flat, but it doesn't resolve the G flat. It's an A flat minor 9 to D flat. Then it goes to this chord, and this is the same chord that Bill Evans uses here, which is a C minor, but with a sharp 9, I'm going to call it. So it's a 2-5, a C minor, half diminished F7, and then it goes to this, what was the original chords, this interesting passage which goes chromatically down the scale. It goes B minor, E7. They're chromatic 2-5s, like B minor, 7, E7, B flat minor, 7, E flat 7, and then to an A flat minor, D flat, 7 altered, into, I'm sorry, that's the melody note, into G flat major. Now in the Real Book, you're going to see that goes to E flat minor like this. And then to A flat, which that's fine, but it's not the original chord changes that Jimmy Heath showed me and Bill Evans plays. This one, the 2-5-1 goes into the 2-5 goes into the 1, and then it goes like that, chromatically up to the A flat, altered, then Okay, the C half diminished. And then I use a B7 altered there to get me to the 5 chord. And then the 5 chord, of course, is altered. Now, what is that altered chord? It's like a flat 9, 3, sharp 11, okay? Then it just repeats the same progression. Now we'll move to the bridge. Now the bridge moves into the 5 chord from a 2-5-1, so it has to be a C minor 7 flat 5, an F7 altered. Okay, so that's the B flat, that's the 5 chord altered with a flat 9, then it repeats. Now I alter that chord. Now what do I have in there? These are all spread voicings, by the way, so it's very simple that way. I'm not doing elaborate voicings. They're just straight voicings that are spread. So now I have a flat 9, a sharp 11, and so on. Now, here we go, a 2-5-1 into G flat. Then the 2-5-1 back to the C half diminished to F7. Now there's this interesting progression that goes from the 5 chord, but it goes 2 5s like this, and then down a whole step, down a whole step. See, that's really a Monk original, that he came up with that idea at the end of the bridge to approach the E flat minor. So he does the 5, down a whole step, again a 2-5, and then down another whole step. That's very modern concept of jazz for its time in the probably in the early 50s, or maybe even the late 40s that he wrote this. And then the last section, of course, is just a repeat of the first section. So it's AABA. And then we'll move now into the introduction to the solo. Okay, if you have the Miles Davis recording of this song, Round Midnight, and actually the album he recorded is called Round Midnight, so this is the signature song on the album, the most important song, and he does this like fill, a rhythmic fill, after he plays the ballad, like, you know, or this. He does this figure which is rhythmic. It sort of like has a different feel than the ballad feel. It goes like this. Like that, and then now that's just really a F minor 7 or the 2 chord with the 5 pedal tone on the bottom, and then to a sharp 9 like that. So he goes like, and then, or actually it might go like this, like. Then there's a drum fill, and then. That may not be exactly accurate, but it's an approximation. It's close enough for jazz. And then we go into the song, and then the improvisation begins. I'm not going to analyze what I played improvisationally, but I want you to, you know, maybe check out some of my improvisation videos to talk about that. And we'll move on to the end of the song, which includes the last part of the melody and then the ending. I want to talk about the ending of this song, which is a postlude, you could call it. Okay, here we go. Wrapping up, I just want to show you what's happening there now. There it is now. We're on the C half diminished. 5, the F7 altered. And then up a half step there to an F sharp minor 7, to a B7. Same melody now, a B minor 7, E7, to an F half diminished. So that's the 2-5 of the key. And now these figures are just cycle of fifths moving down in whole steps. Resolving there. It's very clever in a way because it's like, you know, like that. Like that progression. It's very clever. So that, now we'll wrap up. Wrapping up, I just want to thank you for joining me here at the Jazz Ranch. And I just let you know that there won't be any more videos for a while because we're heading south to the Carolinas to visit our family. But hang in there with us. We'll be back late May and we'll continue. And so until that time, please check out this link that I'm going to leave with you. It has a list of all my videos in categories, playlists, and you can listen to one at a time or a group of them according to the category they're in. So I hope you will take advantage of that and write to me. I appreciate all you folks that write to me and all your support. So thank you so much. Until next time, I will say, in the words of my friend Hermie Dressel, swing loose, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.